What am I supposed to do with my life? Where do I go from here? What's waiting me at the end of the horizon? I'm sure I'm not the only one who has thought this to myself at some point. The journey to find one's true purpose can take a lifetime, and some may never truly grasp what it means to live. These are the themes that Mediterranea Inferno explores, and it sure was an experience that left me wondering about my own life. The game follows 3 gay men, Claudio, Mida, and Andrea, also known as the Sun Guys. They embark on a life-changing adventure for freedom in Italy. The story takes place after the 2020 quarantine and displays the effects it had on the group's relationship and dynamic. Not having seen each other in so long must have taken quite a toll on their relationship. But when they meet at Claudio's granddad's mansion, it feels like as if nothing changed at all. The 3 take a trip to the city, where lights are blooming, parties are being thrown, and all worries are left behind. While touring the city, they come across a mysterious figure named Madama, who offers the men a once-in-a-lifetime experience, the fruit of Mirages. Madama explains that each and every one of them must peel 4 fruits to reach heaven, otherwise there will be consequences. The trio peels the fruit and experiences a psychedelic trip. These mirages are a lot like psychedelic trips that help to blur the line between reality and one's inner thoughts. They serve as a mirror of the characters' true selves, forcing them to confront the uncomfortable truth hidden deep in the subconscious. This all comes at a price though, as mirages are experienced by purchasing them with summer coins. These coins are shared between the trio, and sometimes one of them might lack the currency needed to embark on a trip. To unlock the true ending, one member of the group must be denied of heaven. For me personally, it's a subtle reminder that sometimes we grow at the cost of those closest to us. The first mirage introduces us to identity, power, and sociality. Every character represents a social construct with their own unique problems and outlook on life. They are notably different, yet they complement one another, because no one in this world is truly complete on their own. I think that it's highly likely that you will find at least one of the Sun Guys relatable. Take Andrea for example. I'm unable to describe his path thoroughly, as the route I chose didn't explore him that much, but from what I gathered, he is a hopeless romantic, a party animal, and always desperate to be the star of the show. He feels like as if partying and spending nights out is the only reason to keep going. Andrea is afraid of the future, preferring to cower in the past, unable to let go of the good times. The feeling of isolation makes him weak and alienated. Claudio, on the other hand, is afraid of the future by blaming the past generations for making everything so hard. His identity is deeply tied to his family, as he wants to restore the Visconti family name after it was tarnished by his father. Claudio starts following his grandfather's footsteps, as Grandpa Visconti was the only functional family member. Claudio doesn't care about neither the future nor the present, as he believes the truth to be lying in the past. This obsession with his family legacy is nothing more than an escape, a way to avoid both the present and the future. Mida is the outlier. While Claudio is stuck in the past and Andrea despises the future, Mida sees the future as his savior. He took advantage of the quarantine and started pursuing fame by becoming an Instagram model. Bit by bit, he started showcasing a perfect version of himself he knew the world wanted to see. Yet everyone has some kind of weakness, and Mida is no exception to this. But his masterfully crafted facade can fool absolutely anyone, including himself, because the only way for him to feel loved without getting hurt is to show others a part of him that isn't truly his. Behind the mask is a man battling with insecurity and loneliness. Mida abuses drugs in order to keep a slender and beautiful body. He wants others to appreciate his hard work from pouring so much blood, sweat and tears, but his friends are still stuck in the past. Mida was able to focus on himself by living in his own world in complete solitude, something he began to enjoy after having been a laughingstock of the group for so long. The reason for their bullying was simple. They just wanted to have balance. It's not difficult to understand, is it? During the quarantine, Mida even confessed his love to Claudio. Unfortunately, he got rejected. Saddened by this, Mida chose to burn his car as a symbolic gesture of letting go and moving on to a new chapter in his life. The event that changed his life around, forcing him to become completely isolated from others. As the Sun Guys' journey continues, they get a wake-up call from some old friends. The trio thinks that they found the truth about themselves, but it doesn't seem so, as the girls call out their flaws, forcing them to reflect on their actions and their way of life. A summer of self-exploration quickly becomes a shattering incident as the group begins to fall apart. Each member experiences a mirage, one last time. Claudio's final mirage is ironically about the present and is a message to not only him, but to us. Constant anxiety and skepticism is too overwhelming to live comfortably here and now. That's why we keep searching models from the past, salvaging their images. That's not the healthiest way to live, but wouldn't it be too big for us to fix it? The past is a safe house with a promise of belonging. That is Claudio's identity, to keep living his fantasy in the past. Mida's mirage explores society and the way we interact with others. It's like we all hate each other, choosing to sever our bonds rather than hold them dear, all the while hurting none other than ourselves. We discard empathy to fuel our hate, our envy. We block, mute, ignore everyone who dares to be successful. We take down others before they can take down us. In reality, it doesn't have to be this way, but who will be the one to change it all? And then there's Andrea. His mirage shows his isolation during the pandemic and how he felt abandoned by his friends. At first, it wasn't so bad. He actually enjoyed a small breather from all that partying. He couldn't be left out, as no one could even go anywhere. Yet, as the pandemic went on with seemingly no end, he too began to break. All alone, he just wanted to feel someone again. Anything at all. His anger kept on building up, causing him to blame the old generation for forcing his way into complete loneliness. He knows that we only had the pandemic to save their wretched old lives, even though they'd never do the same for us. He was scared to connect to his friends, afraid of leaving them an impression as being pushy and needy. Yet, after some time, he manages to message them, saying he wants to meet them again. Days passed by with no answer. They finally answer and agree to meet him. But is it what really happened? He begins overthinking, believing that the others see Andrea as a loner who just can't handle solitude. Which is also the reason as to why nobody wants to hang out with him. Depending on others for happiness is a dangerous drug. During the finale, it is revealed that Andrea hated change. He would have given them everything, but he wasn't given a chance. He felt abandoned and loathed others for becoming too boring, too old. Now having reached his boiling point, he kills Claudio, expressing his wrath against him. He thinks that Mida should be thanking him for helping him get his revenge by bringing out the fact that he was so focused on himself he didn't even have time to appreciate the things around him. Spending time with friends isn't something you do for others, it's something you do for yourself. He doesn't care about Mida because he too lives in his own little world without ever realizing that Andrea wanted help from his dear friends. Now, he has a plan to make them never leave. He makes Mida reflect upon his actions, saying that he always lived in the shadows, scared to open up, thinking that they would make fun of him. That's the exact reason as to why they made fun of him. Andrea goes on with his rant and brings out Mida's deepest fear for physical contact and confrontation. That's why the lockdown was ideal for him, to be able to drag everyone else down to his level devoid of any physicality, all to avoid interacting with more freer and imaginative people. The reason for his success was thanks to that very life devoid of any empathy. Andrea does wonder how much Mida enjoyed seeing others stand before him completely lost and helpless. Because if Mida is okay, everyone's okay. Is it not so? Mida was finally able to open himself up. That was his demise. Now with most of the Sun Guys dead, Andrea can finally enjoy the company of his friends without a single worry in the world. There's no way they can abandon him now, they'll always be with him. The following morning, police arrive along with Claudio's parents. Andrea was found guilty for the murders of Mida and Claudio. He was separated from his friends once again, completely alone and abandoned. This isn't the end of the story, as we travel back in time to when the special Mirage was introduced. This Mirage isn't about the boys, it's about Madama. Madama talks about society and revolution in Italy, describing how it is the overthrow of an earlier system and the no being shouted at previous generations. But Italy has never had a revolution. They've never said no to the fathers who spent all their lives creating and shaping both the past and the future. No, they've always preferred killing off each other for the future. Madama then goes on to talk about identity, power, and sociality, and the way that there's one in each of them. These social constructs aren't necessarily a part of them, but they force them to behave in a certain way. Mida couldn't show his power without the social component. Claudio would have no one to recognize him, or for anyone to recognize themselves in Claudio without sociality. Andrea's idea of sociality is not free from the obsession for validation, and power is accompanied by his desire to lose his identity in favor of a collective. To learn from Mida is the power of change for one's sake. To learn from Andrea is the sense of community and belonging, but also a unity of spirit. To learn from Claudio's anger is to use it against the common enemy, the past. Madama has a final request, and that is for them to kill her, as it is the only way to free her from this. The boys refuse, seeing it clearly that Madama was using them to achieve her own paradise. It's always about the older generation's needs and wants. How hypocritical of her to use the exact system she talks so negatively about to reach her own paradise. The Sun Guys unite one last time to break the loop, leaving Madama all by herself. She begs for the guys to end her, but obviously they don't listen, as they know what they stand for. In the end, the Sun Guys break the cycle. They refuse to be manipulated by Madama or anyone else. They had their own revolution, their own summer in Italy. They are finally free from the shackles of fate. They found their path. This game really did strike a chord with me. I feel like I got a reality check and have never been the same since. As if my view on the world changed by a tiny margin. Although I'm just a normal human, and I am unable to convey the deeply profound messages that this game has to offer. This video only talks about what I think and what I experienced firsthand. I wholeheartedly recommend you to experience this visual novel so that you too may learn something new about yourself. Anyways, take care, and I'll hopefully see you next time.